you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Blunt, for your leadership. And I'm excited about what we're talking about today. I'm excited for my state of West Virginia. The one thing, the main thing that people in West Virginia want is a good job. But a good job with more pay, more take-home pay, and a higher wage is just exceedingly important to the families that I represent. So in my view, tax reform, as any other policy that Congress could put forward, will enhance growth and provide more job opportunities throughout this country. So let me focus a little bit on my state of West Virginia. According to the Economic Innovation Group, more than 34% of West Virginians are living in distressed communities. Unfortunately, that number was the third highest of any state in this country. And at the same time, only 3.4% of West Virginians are living in prosperous communities. So there are pockets of this country that have prospered and done very well, but the vast majority of our states have really struggled. Only 2 in 5 distressed communities have seen any job growth during the past 5 years during our so-called recovery. That's not the definition of a recovery, if you ask me. Since 2010, fully 50% of U.S. growth has occurred in just 2% of our country's counties. So if you think about it, just economic growth has only occurred in 2% of the counties across this great country. The truth is that most of our country has been mired in economic stagnation. We've just been standing still. And I saw Lou Holtz give a speech one time, and he said, if you're standing still, you're going backwards. So if you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards. So it's been a slow recovery, but the truth is for West Virginians, many of them, there's been no recovery at all. But it isn't all doom and gloom in our state, because we have the opportunity for change, and that's what we're here to talk about, to change. The change that we really need, that helps our struggling working class families, that changes and revitalizes our distressed communities, change that leads to economic growth, that creates opportunity for our future generations. In fact, our state, and I'll give you some good news, of West Virginia in the first quarter, we grew by 3%. Our GDP, we were the second fastest growth in the entire nation. But to be sure, 1 quarter is not a trend. And it does demonstrate the potential that we have if we do it right here. If we do it right here for our citizens, the potential that we have for growth is there. But one of the biggest drags on our economy in recent years has been the excessive regulations, which we've addressed quite a bit here in the first 9 months of President Trump's term. We've worked hard to bring in reason to the regulatory environment, but also our burdensome tax code. So what can we do? We can reduce taxes that impede our growth. So let's think about our small businesses. They are the majority, in many of our states, the major economic driver to our economy. My state of West Virginia, 95.6% of the businesses in my state are small businesses. And they employ nearly half of the West Virginia private sector employment workforce. So nearly half of West Virginians are working in what's defined as a small business. And yet they can face a tax rate as high as 39.6. So think about that. If you own a bakery or an accounting firm, in a 5-day work week, you have to work Monday and Tuesday just to pay the government. So it's no wonder that small businesses have found it difficult to open, let alone succeed in many parts of our country. The United States also has the highest corporate tax rate in the developed world. So a lot of people are going, what is that? How does that really influencing me? It's influencing me, the working American, because the working American is bearing the brunt of that. Because of our outdated tax code, real wages for most workers have barely increased over the years. And West Virginians understand that as hard as they work, the government's taking more money from them. It costs them more money every time they go to the grocery store, every time they buy clothing for their children, every time they try to buy a new car. It's just more expensive with no growth in their wages to be able to bear that expense. So it just feels impossible to get ahead. Impossible. I think we see that all around our states and our local localities. We see people thinking, I can't get ahead. I haven't been able to over the last 5 to 10 years. I'm starting to think it might be impossible, but you know what? We can fix this because it's not impossible. We can create an opportunity where more opportunity is available, higher wages are there by modernizing our tax code. We can have a simpler system, lower rates. It is good for businesses and for workers. And families deserve the relief from the complexity of our tax code. I've seen it stacked up before. If you haven't seen it, well, I'm 5'3". I think it's taller than I am if you stack it up page to page. And so, along with the complexities, people need to keep more of their hard-earned money. It will help our companies grow. And when our companies grow, what happens? You have more jobs, you have fairer taxes, and best of all, besides more jobs, bigger paychecks. So with the earnings, and companies can hire new workers, increase wages, and invest in new developments. These are the changes that hardworking West Virginians, I think, are hungering for. So I think the time is now. The stagnation that we felt over the last decade has worn us down, has made us lose our optimism about being able to have a better life than our parents had, or our children thinking they can have a better life than what they have. You know, the American dream is sort of fading for a lot of people. So comprehensive tax reform can provide that relief. And I'm excited that we can create that environment of optimism, that environment of confidence in not just our companies and our abilities to create more jobs and raise our paychecks, but that confidence that we need as a country that, yes, we can live in our communities in rural America like West Virginia or North Carolina or Missouri, that we can live in those communities, have a great chance to move ahead, have a good retirement when we are deciding that, you know, we're at the end of the line in terms of our working careers, and also pass on to the next generation a competitive environment that can compete anywhere in the world financially, because we know we compete anywhere in the world in a lot of different areas. We're on an uneven playing field right now, and that's going to, when we change this, when we fix this, because we can fix this, that will change the playing field for every single American who gets up in the morning or goes to work in the evening to have the confidence that things are going to be better for them. So I want to thank the senator from Missouri, and I look forward to talking about this over the next several weeks. Thank you.